service. Our ambassador who just walked back in with the gold stole is Stella. And if you've only been coming for a short time, or you have questions about Unity, or this is perhaps your first Sunday to be here, please stop and get a mug and a packet of information about Unity from Stella. And she can answer lots of Unity questions also. Please check out on Facebook, tell your friends and family. Here you are, right here at Unity of Springfield. And then if you would please silence or totally shut off your cell phone. Today's flowers are provided by Paul Day in celebration of his and Sue's wedding anniversary. Please join me in our mission statement. Our mission is to encourage and inspire spiritual and personal growth by empowering each other to be authentically all that we came here to be. Let's speak together the affirmation for today's daily word. My heart is open to the flow of life. On a clear day, the ocean's surface provides only a glimpse of the activity beneath the surface. Beneath the water, life makes its home in a myriad of ways. Like the depths of the ocean, my heart is filled with countless energies, love, compassion, and so much more. My heart also remains open to new experiences as part of the continual ebb and flow of life. I gently allow each experience to flow into my open heart. Then, like the tide rising and falling in tandem with the moon, I feel the gentle pull of God's love calling me inward to bless me, then flowing outward from my heart center to bless others. Whether receiving or giving, my heart is open to the flow of life. The scripture for today is Psalm 51, verse 10. Please join me. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. And let's repeat the affirmation. My heart is open to the flow of life. As Sue rings the prayer bowl, please hold the following people in your prayerful thoughts for their highest and best. Raymond, Ashley, Al, Nancy, Della, Lee, Gracie, John, Chris, Jeannie, Ann, Dusty, Matt, Brittany, Zach, and anyone else who comes to your mind. We surround Carolyn Bulig and her family with love on the passing of Carolyn's brother. We're sad to announce the transition of Sharon Chaffin Smith and send our love and support to Rusty and the family. At this time, we do not know when the services will be. As the sounds and vibrations from the prayer bowl fill the sanctuary with energy and flow out to our friends on live stream, take a deep breath in, hold, and exhale. We release that, or we acknowledge that the one presence and one power, God, Source, Spirit, the universe, whatever you prefer to call the presence and power that is always with us, blessing us, and dwells in us, as us, and through us. As we begin to relax, focusing on prayer and meditation, bring your attention to the crown of your head, relaxing as you move down to your forehead, eyes, ears, lips, tongue, and jaw. Roll your neck and shoulders to release any tension and stiffness. Follow the relaxation as it moves down your arms, elbows, wrists, hands, fingers. Feel and see the relaxation taking place in your body as you move down your spine and lower back. Relax your thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet, and toes. Take a deep breath, hold, and exhale. We pray for all who have been placed on the prayer list by their concerned loved ones. In addition, we include ourselves, our families, our friends, our neighbors. For everyone on earth, we affirm bodies immersed in good health, finances to cover needs, dreams, and desires, loving relationships with family and friends, the guidance we seek, peace of mind, and spiritual transformation. We surround not only our spiritual community, but also our city, our state, our nation, all nations with prayers for fairness and respect for all. Happiness, joy, abundance, inclusivity. We visualize peace among all in our country, in all countries and all governments, especially those suffering in war-torn areas. I invite our congregants here in the sanctuary and those viewing from their homes to realize and accept that each of us is worthy of all the good we desire. And we are loved by God just the way we are. We are so blessed by God's gifts to us of life, love, and connection. With infinite gratitude, we share our loving, accepting, and welcoming energy within the spiritual community to the whole world and everyone in it. We open our hearts to be filled with countless energies, love, compassion, and so much more. Whether receiving or giving, our hearts remain open to the flow of life. Now, as we move into the silence, contemplate how you might open your heart even more, how you might give and receive more easily in the silence.
And I love that you wrote both the songs for today and that our band can come in and just back up so beautifully. Thank you guys for what you do. Good morning. It's good to see everybody here. You know, I was gone this past week and it was warm when I left. Was not warm coming home last night. The weather has definitely changed. And I was telling Paul, though, we had been in Colorado 3 weeks ago, and I got to see the fall aspens. I was in Ohio this past week, and I got to see their beautiful fall that's happening. And I'm coming here. You know, it's like I get 3 falls this year. How cool is that? I did want to say thank you. First of all, Al, who is usually sitting down here, was in the hospital last week with pneumonia, and he did get to go home. He's back home in the Maples now. But I wanted to say thank you for my sister Patty is in the middle here. And I had to go back to Ohio this week because she had pneumonia and was intubated on Monday. Actually, as of this morning, she just now got put into a regular room. But the reason that I even bring this up is because she is our first online member. And I think it is so amazing that 800 miles away, my sister could feel the love from this spiritual community. So I just want to say thank you guys so much that, you know, all the kind words that came her way, and she's probably watching right now because she watches us every week. So, hi, Patty, we love you. Okay, so here we are. We are in our second week of a series based on the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And this series is an all-church series, meaning that it's not only, we are not the only ones that are getting this message, but our kids are getting this message. And if you are not on the Unity of Springfield Connection group on Facebook, I encourage you to go and ask to be on it, because there you're going to be able to keep up with what the kids are doing. And it was so cool last week to hear what our teens did with this and how they were already grasping some of this. Because last week what we talked about was our inner roommate. And our inner roommate is the voice that is happening in our heads almost all the time. In fact, it might be happening for you right now. Yes? Like maybe you went off there for a second and were thinking about something else and came back. And the idea last week was simply to, I don't want to say simply, because I think our whole journey here is to wake up and become aware. It's in the waking up and becoming aware and then making changes that we grow. But to wake up and start really listening to what's going on in your head. And again, when you're not thinking about what it is you're thinking about, because we do that a lot. And, you know, the thing that I've discovered, especially this past week, was there's not a whole lot of negative stuff going on in there, and I'm very grateful for that. But sometimes there is. And that's the stuff that we want to get a hold of when we're going down that road that is taking us in the direction we don't want to go. We want to tell the inner roommate to be quiet. We want to tell the inner roommate, okay, enough. And of course, then there's a progression here, because this week we're going to be talking about the energy of the heart, and I love this stuff. Now, as I shared each week, there's going to be one of our 5 basic principles, which are, I don't have them up, but I know we know them. God is, I am, I ask, I pray, I act. And so our principle for this week, that's the Untethered Soul, is prayer. And prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God-mind and therefore brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good. In Unity, we know we've talked about this. We use affirmative prayer. And it's not that we're praying to God, we're praying from the consciousness of God, from that knowing that whatever it is that we're focused on, it is already being done for us. The power this week is the power of understanding, which is what? The knowing with the heart. It's our spiritual ability to know and comprehend divine ideas and truth principles and spiritual law. So, would we all agree that it feels better for us to be in a state of appreciation and love rather than in a state of anxiety or fear or anger? Would we agree with that? Yes, it feels much better to be in that state of love and appreciation. But what happens is that sometimes the world just spins out of control for us. Anybody ever have that happen? And despite our best intentions, sometimes it's hard for us to maintain our emotional equilibrium, especially when stressful things are happening in our lives. We all know what it feels like, right? To not have that emotional equilibrium where we're, yeah, we all know what that feels like. But here's the thing is that we have the ability to control that much more than we know and much more than probably we have been practicing. So the great thing today is we're going to talk about a couple of different practices that we can use to maintain that center and that open energy of the heart. So we're going to do that by talking about the heart. And what I want to start with is the heart mass solution. Sorry, yeah. Is my thing not working? And are you doing that, Lisa? Okay, I just want to make sure. The heart mass solution with Doc Childer and Howard Martin. And this is the Institute of Heart Math. And they have a revolutionary program for engaging the power of the heart's intelligence. They have been researching the heart scientifically for over 32 years. So it's really cool, this stuff I'm gonna share with you. Now, one of the things that they start with is that the heart isn't mushy or sentimental, that it's actually intelligent and it's powerful. And here's how much they believe this. They believe that it holds the promise for the next level of human development and for the survival of our world. And honestly, that makes perfect sense to me. So what they say is one of the observations that intrigued them most throughout the ages is that the heart has been referred to as a source of not only virtue, but as a source of intelligence. The role of the heart as an intelligence within the human system is one of the most prevalent themes in ancient traditions and in inspirational writing. Mr. Pascal stated that we know the truth not only by reason, but also by the heart, right? Yeah, okay. Lord Chesterfield wrote, "The heart has such an influence over the understanding that it is worthwhile to engage it in our interest." And Thomas Carlyle concluded, "It is the heart that always sees before the head can see." Yeah. So I'm going to give you some interesting facts. Howard Martin shares that the heart starts beating in the unborn fetus before the brain is fully formed, which isn't that interesting. Scientists don't know exactly what triggers that beating, but they have a term that they use called autorhythmic to indicate that the heartbeat itself is self-initiated from within the heart. Now, in recent years, neuroscientists have made an exciting discovery. They found that the heart has its own independent nervous system, a complex system known as the brain in the heart. There are at least 40,000 neurons, nerve cells in the heart, as many as are found in various subcortical centers in the brain. Because we always think about the brain, right, as being the intelligence, but we're really focused today on the intelligence of the heart. And what they found is that the brain is not only giving information to the heart, but the heart is sending information to the brain. He said that there's a conversation happening between the brain and the heart all the time. And when researchers mapped out the neurological pathways in our bodies, what they found is that the heart is clearly sending a lot more information to the brain than it is receiving from the brain. Sometimes I just think this is so interesting. He also said that the heart actually makes an anti-stress hormone. Who'd have guessed that? That's so cool. So the heart is an electrical organ. It produces the strongest source of what is called bioelectricity in our bodies, and up to 40 to 60 times more than the second most powerful organ in the body, which is the brain. So the electrical energy of the heart is so strong, and here's something that we really need to understand, that it permeates every cell of our bodies, but not only that, it expands out beyond our skin. It expands out beyond us. So I love these, and this is from heart math. It surrounds us 360 degrees and can be measured 3 to 4 feet outside of the body. So this is how, we're bumping into each other all the time, aren't we? I mean, we're constantly, you're like sitting by each other. You're all intermingled in each other's, bioelectrical fields that are happening right here. And the thing that he says is that this electromagnetic energy changes depending upon our emotional state. Makes perfect sense, right? So, and this is pretty cool, because what he did was he had what Howard Martin would do is he would have somebody come up to the front. He would have this, and he would put something on their ear. And so, like with the first girl, he had her come up, and he was like, she didn't know what she was up there for, and he said, "Well, do you sing?" And you could see the heart rhythms go, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm not going to make you sing." So then what he did was he went into a few moments, and we're going to do this at the end of today's talk, but where he had her breathing in and out through her heart, and then focusing on something that she loved or something that she appreciated, and that the bottom one is the rhythm of that. So what he's saying is that when we are in those states of anger and resentment and frustration and anxiety, that top one, that it's an incoherent pattern of the heart. But when we are in those states of love and appreciation, kindness and compassion, that we have what's called a coherent a biomagnetic electrical field that is happening. Have you ever come into the presence of someone and you can feel that energy? I mean, whether it's a really positive, joyful energy, or sometimes when it's a pretty negative energy, we feel it because guess what? We're bumping into each other all the time because that's going out from us. And Scripture supports this. In Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Right there is the intelligence of the heart. As you think in your heart, so are you. Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs, anxiety, these are all Proverbs, weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. A cheerful heart is good medicine. I know, I always love this, but a crushed spirit dries up bones. But it's true. Again, we're going back to that these emotional states that we find ourselves in, we have to recognize they are directly affecting not only our mental emotional state, they're affecting our physical bodies. And then as water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. And I can't remember, maybe it was there, but it's like, out of the mouth comes things from your heart. So it's, there's incredible power with the heart. So going back to Michael Singer in the book, The Untethered Soul, he says the heart is actually very simple to understand. It's an energy center, a chakra, what we would call a chakra. There's 7 chakras in our body. It is one of the most beautiful and powerful energy centers and one that affects our daily lives. Your heart, you feel your heart's energy all the time. So he asked, think about what it's like to feel love in your heart. Think what it's like to feel energy welling up in your heart, making you feel confident and strong. Think about what it feels like to have inspiration and enthusiasm pouring forth from your heart. You can feel that energy, right? I mean, it feels good. And he says this happens because the heart is an energy center. So he gives an example of this fact that this energy just is. It's something that we actually control, but we don't realize it, and so we allow our energies to just be taken. So one of the examples he uses is, let's just say you're in a new relationship. Anybody remember a new relationship? You're just like excited. You're talking on the phone till late at night. You're still getting up for work. You can't stop thinking about this person, and you have all the energy in the world, right? It's like, whoa, what happened? I have this newfound energy. And you break up. And all of a sudden, all that energy is gone. And you're just so sad, and you can't stop, thinking about just how much you wanted this person in your life. And the next thing you know, you're not eating well, and you're not wanting to get out of bed. And his point is, what happened to the energy? And it was a psychological thing. It became a physiological, biological thing, but it wasn't that before. First, it was our minds. Because he says, you can call upon this energy anytime, that this energy is always here. This energy is always flowing. It was interesting, last night I was flying in. There was just a beautiful carpet of clouds underneath the plane. And it just so happened to be, at the time that the sun was, the sun was up, the blue sky, but then the sun started to set. It was so beautiful. But it's like that reminder that even when these clouds are covering us, this sun, it's always there. We just can't see it. And I think of it as the same thing when we're going through things like this, or when we're, talking about energy. Just like the sun is always there and the clouds cover it and we can't see it, this energy is always there. We've created the clouds in our consciousness. And so it's up to us ultimately to part the clouds, so to speak. So he says, you can call upon this energy anytime. It has nothing to do with age. You can see 80 to 90-year-olds that have this energy. And it was interesting because we were watching, I think it's something about the blue zones on Netflix, Living to 100, yeah. And watching these people who are 90 and 100 years old, and man, they're still climbing mountains, they're carrying things, they're happy, they're joyful. And his point is that how are we viewing our own energy? And here's what I'm going to say, their bodies aged. They definitely looked like they were aging, but their energy was different. And it's what I see with some of my friends, that have this amazing energy. He says, energy doesn't get old, it doesn't get tired, and it doesn't need food. What it needs is openness and receptivity. And he says the only thing that you have to know is that opening allows energy in, and closing our hearts blocks it. And so I like, because he just cracks me up, because it's just like, okay, so now you have to decide whether or not you want this energy. It's just like, hey, just decide, So how do you stay open? This is his answer: by never closing. That's helpful, isn't it? But he said closing is a habit, just like any other habit that we have, and we can change that habit. So where he goes with this is that basically we are programmed to open and close based on past experiences, that these past experiences become impressions upon our consciousness and upon our heart, and so we get triggered to open or close. So the example he uses is, let's say that there's a smell that's like a meal that's being cooked. And he said, and it makes you think of your childhood growing up. He said, depending, if you had a good memory of that, then your heart would be open. But if you had a negative memory of that, without even realizing it, your heart would close. That energy would close off. And for me, it's like if someone starts to raise their voice to me, because of past experiences that I had, it's an immediate close for me. And so the point here is that just to wake up and become aware of when we're opening and when we're closing and what is triggering us. And this is, to me, is so much of the work that we get to do, is some of that inner work where when my heart is closed, okay, what's coming up for me here? Is this relevant to me today? And I'm going to tell you, most of the time, it's not going to be relevant to today. It's some old past thing that's coming up that's not even relevant to your life anymore. And okay, then I'm going to do some exercises in order to help my heart stay open. Michael Singer says it's imperative to our well-being that we stay open as much as possible. But to do that, we have to start recognizing where we're closing. And, again, that's the work. And here's the thing, too. He says, when our hearts close, it's almost like it's protecting us. And that's what we have to get clear on. That's not really protection. That's not protection. That's covering up instead of healing. So that's why we want to become open to, well, what is showing up for me here? And I'm going. So here's what he says. When your heart starts to close, just say no. I'm not going to close. I'm going to relax. I'm going to let this situation take place and be here with it. Now, and that's the first part of the work here, is becoming awake and aware that my heart is closed. How do you know that your heart is closed?
By the way you feel.
Exactly. And how do you feel?
Grumpy.
Yes. Grumpy. Sad. Tired. You can feel that your energy is closed, right? Maybe your heart's palpitating more. Your mind, the inner roommate, gets louder, doesn't it? Yeah, if you've gotten triggered by something, your heart's closing and your inner roommate's going, whoa, okay, wake up. Just wake up. We want to be gentle with ourselves here. We're not here to beat ourselves up. We're here to be able to expand and grow. Beating ourselves up is not going to do that for us. So you just wake up and say, okay, this is what's coming up for me. Now he says, by all means, deal with whatever situation is there for you. Do the best you can, but try to deal with whatever is happening with an openness in your heart. And he says, start with the small things. Start with those times that maybe you get triggered by somebody in your maybe environment. If you're on Facebook, start looking at what triggers you. If you're driving down the road, if you're waiting in a long line, those are the times. There are many times when things just pop up and we start to close our hearts. So we just want to start noticing the small things, because by noticing the small things, we're going to be more apt to start noticing the bigger things when they come up. Anybody think they have any big things in there that they need to heal? So that, I was thinking this morning, and it's probably not the best example, but like of a voodoo doll and like the pins that get stuck in, But without even realizing it, we're going around all the time and we're getting triggered. We're getting our buttons pushed. And how are we reacting to those? Are we awake enough to know that was a negative reaction, took me down a negative road, and I might still be there? That's the thing about this. If we're not awake and aware enough, we're going to stay in that.
It's cold. I don't like it.
I know, it is. It's lonely. It's an awful place to be. Wake up, because we can do something different. So his thing is, let's work on this. So the thing that I want to share with you that is an exercise today is actually from Heart Math. And it's simple. I would encourage you to go to, so this is what it is. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about something that makes you feel good. Could be anything. It could be a place that you love to go. It could be a person that you love. It could be an animal. It could be anything. Something that just brings that smile to your face. And so what we're going to do here in just a minute is we're going to just do a short meditation. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is to breathe in and out through your heart space, and if you would like to put your hand on your heart, you can do that. But when we breathe in, we're going to breathe in through our heart. We're going to breathe in for 5, and we're going to breathe out for 5. And we're going to do that for a few breaths. And then I'm going to invite you to bring whatever it is into your consciousness of that which makes you feel expansive and open. And here's what you're going to see is the difference is when we move from being a frustrated place, being in an anxious place, working with this heart energy, we can move through appreciation into a more coherent space. Now, here's what I want to say too. The heart can give us incredible direction in our lives. And when we get to this place of coherence, that's the time, my friends, to be asking, If you're needing some guidance, if you're needing something like that, just open yourself in those moments. Don't try to answer your own question. You're not letting your brain do it. You're going to let your heart guide you to the answer. So I'm going to invite you, if you would like, to close your eyes for just a moment. And if you'd like to put your hand in your heart space and just breathe in for a count of 5 and then breathe out for a count of 5. Now I want you to imagine that you're breathing in through your heart space and out through your heart space. Now bring an image or that feeling into your consciousness as you continue to breathe in and out through your heart space. And I invite you to smile. One more time. How do you feel? Peaceful? I mean, it's amazing. That's like a minute thing that you can do that can bring you back to this coherence. And when we're in that coherence, we can make better decisions, right? In that coherence, we can be more in a place of love and appreciation and openness. And that's all it takes, is that. I invite you to go to YouTube and look up a heart math coherence meditation. And there's a lot of them on there. And it's just a few minutes of bringing yourself back into this centered place. And it will make such a difference for you. So this week, continue to be aware of your inner roommate. Know when to uninvite them. And work with this. Open yourself up to being aware of when you get triggered. You're going to feel the feeling. No, this is not where I want to be right now, and start working with this inner heart resting. Next week, we're going to be talking about embracing change. Doesn't that sound like fun? Yay! So get ready. So I say to you, namaste. Namaste. I love this stuff. If you get a chance to look up the heart math stuff, it's just so good. Okay, now we have this opportunity to be in support financially of Unity of Springfield. There's many ways that you can give. You can give through Venmo, which I love. Download the Tidely app. You can give online at Unity of Springfield. I love that I just give through my bank. And so every week, no matter if I'm here or not, I know that my support is here, and we invite you to think about doing that. So let's take our gifts in our hands and let's bless them together with our gift blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And thank you, God.